What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. Hope we're doing well. First off, news broke right after I went off the air yesterday, after I finished recording the show. The Jacksonville Jaguars has fired general manager Trent Baalke after 4 seasons. I don't know what they're doing. They should have done this 3 weeks ago. You know it's bad when they originally decided to keep him. People around the league were surprised and confused what they were doing. Sean Khan, he is a dreadful, dreadful owner. He is just horrible. Outside of Woody Johnson, the dude in Cleveland, and maybe David Tepper in Carolina, he's the worst owner in the sport. He is just beyond horrible. That guy is just clueless. That is such a bad organization. So let me get this straight. All right, so you fire Peterson after the year. Okay. Need the change. Okay. You think, all right, Baalke's obviously got to go. He's the reason that they have this god-awful roster. You said you tried to keep him. You let him, you go on a Zoom call, a public Zoom call. You say in front of Trent Baalke that if coaching candidates don't want him there, he consider firing him in front of him. And then you keep him on board throughout your coaching search that isn't even done yet, and then you fire him. What are you doing? I don't understand the Jacksonville Jaguars. Look, he's here to be fired. He was horrible. Let's look at his drafts. He's been there since 21. They brought him in after they fired Dave Caldwell. He was already in the front office. Remember he was previously in San Francisco as a GM before being the GM in Jacksonville. He was the interim GM when they fired Caldwell late in the year in 2020. Was promoted to full-time GM for 2021. These are his drafts. In 2021, he took Trevor Lawrence with the first overall pick, who has not been quite the generation that we thought. However, had some injuries, other things. We'll see what happens. And then, of course, gave him that huge contract, which right now looks bad, but we'll see what happens. Later in the first round, took Travis Etienne, who's just been kind of eh. Second round, took Tyson Campbell, who 2 years ago had a great season, but the last year hasn't been as good. He struggled 2 years ago with injuries. They gave him a big contract for I don't know why. And then this year, he was a little better, but was decent, but not what he was 2 years ago. He was a top 10 cover corner in the sport. Walker Williams was second round in 21. He, after taking over the struggling with tackle job from after they trade Cam Robinson to Minnesota, played pretty well. He's got a contract extension. In the third round, he got Andre Cisco, a safety at Syracuse. He's been okay. Rest of them, Jay Trefley or something, George Smith, Luke Farrell, Jimmy Camper, late round picks haven't really done anything. In 22, Trevor Walker, first overall pick. He's been a good player, but not nearly what Aiden Hutchinson has been. That's a complete miss. Not a complete miss. He has been a bad player, but he showed his rookie year, was very good last year, but this year hasn't been great. So that's a big mistake by him. And no one had Trevor Walker over Aiden Hutchinson besides the Jaguars that year. That's embarrassing. Later in that round, you took Devin Lloyd, linebacker, who's been pretty good. You took Luke Fortner in the third round as center. He's been horrible. He's barely played. No one else in that draft class I've even ever heard of. Chad Muma, Snoop Connor, Gregory Jr., and Monteric Brown. And then last year's draft class in 2023, first one you took Anton Harrison, a tackle out of Oklahoma. He's just been eh. Second round was a tight end, Brenton Strange, who's barely done anything. Third round you took running back Tank Bigsby, who had an okay year this year. Hasn't done a whole lot so far. The only other guy I've ever even heard of is Parker Washington, who had, I think, like 17 career catches in 10 career games in 2 years. He hasn't done anything. The rest of that draft class, they had a lot of picks a year I've never even heard of. And this year's draft so far, Brian Thomas, the receiver, first round pick, had a great rookie year. Looks like he nailed that pick. The rest of the draft, they were non-factors. So the only players that have done anything for who we can say are surefire good picks were Brian Thomas, the first round wide receiver this year. Tyson Campbell is a starting corner in the league. He's a fine starting corner. Walker was a fine starting tackle in this league. That's really it. We don't really know what Trevor Lawrence, maybe he develops into a good quarterback. Maybe he'll end up maybe he does figure it out and become an elite quarterback. He may end up being a massive bust. ETN hasn't been great. Trayvon Walker was the wrong pick. Devin Lloyd's he's a starting linebacker at this level, but he's a fine starting linebacker. That's about it. Anton Harrison, we don't really know what he is yet. And the guy is like his 2, 3, and 4, like those other guys you got to hit on. Like Brenton Strange, 61st, Tank Bigsby, 88th overall. Like who else has he got? Like he drafted Luke Fortner to be your center of the future. No. And just Undertow is a fine starting safety. Just he is not drafted very well at all, and not a good GM. It was the same in San Francisco, and he's gone. Not sure why it took this long, but Trent Baalke is gone in Jacksonville. And just 2 more quick things, then we'll get to the main thing I want to talk about, which I will introduce when it happens. Bengals hired Notre Dame defensive coordinator Al Holden for the same role. Look, Notre Dame had a phenomenal defense this year. Was the main reason they were in the national championship. He probably deserves a promotion based off that. Obviously, you never know when college coaches go to the pros. It's obviously not a head coaching role, so a little different. But he just grabbed the Bengals defensive coordinator role. So definitely a risky hire. You don't quite know what you're getting. Will he be able to bring the same at the NFL level? I mean, the only offense he really struggled with was Ohio State, who just like anybody would struggle against an offense in college football. We'll see what happens. I mean, can't get worse than it was last year under Lou Anarumo. For some reason, it's the Colts defensive coordinator now. For God knows why. That's just a disaster over there in Indianapolis. But Al Holden is now the defensive coordinator in Cincinnati. We'll see how that turns out. And the Heat have once again suspended Jimmy Butler. They've suspended him 2 games for, they said, constantly breaking team rules. I think he missed a flight. Apparently, he's been a big distraction to the team. Okay, look. The Heat have not done a good enough job building around Jimmy Butler. They haven't made really a major move to help him in 2 or 3 years. Now, I love Pat Riley, one of the greatest coaches of all time. Obviously, New York Knicks coaching legend. One of the greatest. He's done a great job as the president of basketball operations for the Miami Heat. He's been there for a very long time. He's been there probably close to 20 years. But the last few years, he just hasn't done enough. I get it. Tyler Hero's a good player. You got him late in the lottery. Bam Adebayo's a very good big. You got him late in the lottery. You bring in Jimmy Butler via free agency. That was a good move. Duncan Robinson, is a solid role player. He was an undrafted guy. He kind of found not a great player, but he's the guy who can shoot off the bench. That to get an undrafted guy. But other than that, and Hami Akazi, we got him 18th overall. He looks like a very good player. Was great as rookie last year. Continues to play well for the Miami Heat. But other than that, as well as Gabe Vincent played in the playoffs 2 years ago. You just let him go for nothing. That didn't make any sense. Yes, he's been horrible with the Lakers, but still, he fit what you were doing. Just to let him go and not wanting to give him the money that he wanted. That didn't really make a lot of sense to me. I think they offered him 3 for 33. He got 3 for 40 from the Lakers. And I don't mind them letting Max Strus go. That was a massive overpay that the Cleveland Cavaliers did a couple of years ago. But, the other moves, like, Terry Rozier's not a bad trade. You trade Kyle Lowry and a pick for Rozier. It's a fine pickup, but it's not enough. And the team is simply not good enough to compete with our top teams in the Eastern Conference or in the NBA in general. But this is the wrong way for Butler to go about it, okay? You show up to camp in the season as per usual, and then all of a sudden, obviously you weren't able to get a contract done. You run your mouth. You're running your mouth after the Heat got eliminated from the playoffs, which he didn't play in because he got hurt in that first playing game against Philadelphia. Like, we'd have won, we'd have beaten the Knicks with the Celtics if I was healthy. First of all, no, you wouldn't. So shut up. And second of all, you weren't healthy. Right? Stay on the court. That's all I could say. And Pat Riley said, basically told him to shut up in the live press conference. Right after that happened. And he said, "Oh yeah, I want an extension. We couldn't agree last offseason. Let's do it now." And Pat Riley just said, "No, we're not doing it." Don't agree with that. If you really didn't want him, he should have traded him before the season. But that was definitely mishandled by Pat Riley and the Miami Heat. But also, does not give Jimmy Butler the right to, just go out there in a press conference after a loss and just be like, I gotta, I'm not having fun anymore. It's not gonna happen. I'm never going to be having fun as long as I'm playing here. And then that night you request a trade. And then, cause all his problems. You get suspended. You're trying to work out a trade. It's difficult because he's going to be afraid at the end of the season. He wants a contract extension. He's already 35 years old. He's already disgruntled. Again, people, you gotta be careful trading for disgruntled stars. Just because, if they're disgruntled in one spot, just them getting traded does not necessarily mean they're going to magically not be disgruntled in another spot. Okay, people need to realize that. And he comes back, he clearly isn't giving it his all out there. And then, he have tried meeting him countless times. He keeps saying, trade me, trade me, trade me. And now you're causing issues in the locker room. You're causing issues behind the scenes. You're missing team flights. Also, he's saying he's not having fun? Bro, you make like $50 million a year and you live to play in Miami all year round. All right? Shut up, you're not having fun. Okay? You make $50 million a year to play basketball, play a game, and, most of your games are in Miami, Florida, okay? People would die to be in the spot you're in. So shut up, Jimmy Butler. All right? Go to Phoenix. Go to, I don't care, to Milwaukee. I don't care where you go. Just shut up. Okay? I'm tired of the BS from this guy. And I've always liked Jimmy Butler. He's a great player. He's been in all sorts of 6 or 7 times. He's a great playoff performer, great defender, can score the basketball. Very good player. From just the player, if he was on my team, I can't say I would hate it because he is an excellent basketball player. Still really good even at this point in his career. But, he's doing this to himself, okay? He's not doing himself any favors. He needs to shut up and get his ass in the court and take care of his business and let the Pat Riley and the Heat work out a trade. Because it's difficult because you're 35 years old. You're going to be a free agent. Everyone knows I have to trade him because he doesn't want to be there. He's made it very vocal. So no, stop causing all these issues. Serve a suspension. Get on the court. Do your best, and let the thing say you can't control. Take care of themselves. All right. So to finish out, it's time to talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers. I briefly talked about this with Nick. I think it was a week and a half ago. Prior to the divisional round, so probably about a week ago, I had Nick on the show about the Pittsburgh Steelers, and if it's time for a change, I'm going to prove to you that it is time for change. The Pittsburgh Steelers, yes, every year they're good, but they have not won a playoff game since 2017. They are 0-6 since. They have not been out in the first round since 2017. They're always winning. They're always winning games in the regular season. They have had 9 or 10 wins 4 straight seasons. Okay, so they've not. It's not like they haven't even been great in the regular season. They've been just good. They haven't even been great in the regular season. They're going 9-8 and 10-7 and just sneaking in. They have Mike Tomlin has had 18 straight years of 500 or better. 7 of those 18 years, they've had 8 or 9 wins. So they've been for some they've been mediocre. It's not like he's Bill Belichick where he's winning 12, 13 games every year. He's had a couple of 12, 13 win seasons, but a lot of them have been just pretty mediocre. Like maybe you're just sneaking into the playoffs, not even making it at all. 7 times that's happened. He's missed the playoffs 6 times in 18 years. I mean, 12 out of 18 in the playoffs is still very good, but stop Mike Tomlin is Bill Belichick or Andy Reid. He's just not. He's in one Super Bowl in 18 years for the Pittsburgh Steelers is not good. He's won one ring. Look, yes, that's a lot. That's more rings than some other teams have, like the Jets or the Bears, or we can go down the list. But one Super Bowl in 18 years. For how much they talk about Mike Tomlin, you would think they have won more. They have not been to a Super Bowl since 2010. It's been 14 seasons. Since it's in the same amount of time that the Jets have made the playoffs, same amount of time the Steelers haven't been to the Super Bowl. And by the way, Mike Tomlin, guess what his record in the playoffs is? 8-11. Mike Tomlin is 3 games below 500 for his career in the playoffs. Okay, for his career. How is this a generational head coach kind of thing? No. By the way, I'm going to give you 2 resumes. Okay. On one hand, there is one coach who has coached 18 seasons, He has made the playoffs in 12 of 18 of those 18 seasons. He has 8 division titles, and his playoff record is 11-11. The other coach is Mike Tomlin. Guess who the other coach is? Mike McCarthy. Guy who always gets ragged on for being mediocre, not that good, overrated. If he didn't have Prime Rodgers, he would have been working at McDonald's. And look, I'm not a McCarthy guy. I think he is a bit overrated. I don't think he's an amazing coach by any means. That being said, his resume is actually better than Mike Tomlin's. They have both been head coaches for the same amount of years. They have both made the playoffs 12 out of the 18 times. McCarthy has one more division title than Mike Tomlin, and he's a little bit better in the playoffs record-wise. So, and of course, they both have one Super Bowl. Tomlin in 2010, or I think that was it. Maybe they won like 08 or something like that. They go 6, and then they lost. Maybe they lost 2010. I forget. It doesn't matter. McCarthy won with Green Bay. 2000. I think in 2010 I think actually McCarthy won in Green Bay. I think Pittsburgh won in like 2007 or something like that, or 2006, 2008. It doesn't matter. But so he's record is the same as Mike McCarthy, if not worse. And they collapse every year. This is going on for years. In 2007, they started off 9-3. They lose 3 of their last 4, finished 10-6. 2009, they were 6-2. They end up finishing just 3-5. They go 9-7. 2012, they're about 6-3. Ended up losing 5 of their final 7. Finished 8-8. Missed the playoffs. 2019, started 7-2-1. You lose 4 of your final 5. Finished at 9-6-1. You went from a possible first round bye to I think they missed the playoffs entirely. 2019 started off 8. You're 8-5. You lose your final 3 to miss the playoffs. In 2020, remember this? You were 11-0, best team in the league, and then you lose 4 of 5. You end up getting blown out by the Cleveland Browns, a depleted Cleveland Browns team in the first round of the playoffs, down 28-0 in the first quarter. Been through 5 picks in that game. And then this year, you were 10-3, looking like a legit contender. And then you lose 4 straight games, get blown out 4 straight games, and they get annihilated by your division rival, the Ravens, in the first round of the playoffs. Like, how many times does this guy have to collapse for us to realize maybe he's not this elite coach that we think he is? And also, these are they're 0-6 in the playoffs. So their last playoff win was January 15, 2017. That was against the Kansas City Chiefs. Since then, with that win, that allowed them to advance to the AFC Championship that year. They lost to the Patriots 36-17. The following year, they got a first-round bye, just when the 1 and 2 seed got buys because there was only 6 playoff seeds still. You played the Jaguars in the second round. You lost 45-42. The next year, you lost 48-37 to the Browns. At one point, you were down 28-0. Following year, just 2022, you against the Chiefs, lost 42-21. 2 seasons ago, you played the Bills in the first round, lost 31-17. This year, you lost 28-14 to the Baltimore Ravens. To put that in perspective, in the first quarter of their last 6 playoff losses, the Steelers have been outscored 73-0. 73-0 in the first quarter in their last 6 playoff games. And in the first half of their last 6 playoff games, they've now scored 143-47 by 96 points in the first half of their last 6 playoff games and 73-0 in the first quarter. Also, Tomlin's a defense. He's always like a hard-nosed guy who's going to play a lot of defense. These are the amount of points that they've played they have allowed in the postseason in their last 6 games. 36 to the Patriots, 45 to the Jaguars, 48 to the Browns, 42 to the Chiefs, 31 to the Bills, 20 to the Ravens. I can kind of understand the Patriots. That's when Tom Brady was still at the top of this game. But Chiefs, Mahomes, Kelsey, you get the whole deal. The Bills with Josh Allen, he still had Stephon Diggs. Okay, 31. The Ravens, 28. Okay, with Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry. But 45 to the Jaguars? That team was known for being Saxonville and having an all-time great defense. Their quarterback was Blake Bortles, and you gave up 45 points to them. You gave up 45 to Blake Bortles. And the Browns in 2021? Remember, that was half their offensive line was out with COVID. Their whole coaching staff was out with COVID. Bill Callahan was the head coach of that game. And you give up 48 to Baker Mayfield and a bunch of Jags? I'm sorry, you need to stop pretending like Mike Tomlin is elite. Is he a bad coach? No. He's a good coach. But stop pretending like he's one of the greatest coaches of all time. He's just not. That guy is insanely overrated. It's insane how overrated that guy is. And they have been the definition of mediocre for years now. Years. And I'm doing some math on my phone. I'm trying to do the average. They've given up 38.3 points over the last 6 playoff games. It's known for their elite defense, a hard-nosed head coach, but they're going to play a lot of defense under Mike Tomlin. On average, it's giving up 38 points a game in their last 6 playoff losses. Wow. Just wow. Okay? The quarterbacks have changed. Some of the players have changed. They have changed GMs once or twice. But it's the same result. 9-8, 10-7, 9-7-1, 9-8-1, 9-8, 9-7, whatever. 1 and done in the playoffs. And they get blown out in the playoffs in the first round every single year. As long as Tomlin is the coach, this will continue to happen. It is time for change in Pittsburgh. But with that, that's all we got for you guys today. Till next time, so long. Have a great day.